Hey everyone, welcome to the 10th, I think, day of YouTube Live. Welcome from the Indian Dream, the two of us, and also for my dog, Lola. She's having a nice nap right now. Okay, so today's topic is going to be micro SaaS. Siddharth, let's start it off by telling us what micro SaaS is and maybe a few examples of some companies that are doing work in the micro SaaS space.
Let's start with an example. We spoke to Preetham and Sankalp started this company called Super Lemon. And it was an app built on top of Shopify that enabled the Shopify merchants to reach out to their customers on WhatsApp, right? Very simple app. And they did about $30,000 in revenue per month within 1.5 years, right? So just to give you an example
And
of the
it was
scale.
just the two. It was just the two of them.
Just two
Just
people
two.
team, right? I've given a lot of hints on what micro SaaS is, but let me take a step back and really explain what SaaS is, right? Back in early 2000s, the way you would consume software would be you would install something using a CD or whatever on your desktop, and it would have been a desktop application, right? What's happened since early 2000s, salesforce.com came in, but really this movement kicked in late 2000s and early 2010s, when all your software really moved to the browser or the web app, right? Like all, as they call it, cloud. And the entire pricing model changed now. So it was software as a service, which basically meant that you'd pay monthly or yearly rather than that lump sum license fee that you'd pay, let's say, in a SAP or any other product, right?
Windows. To buy your
Or
Windows
Windows,
license. Yeah.
exactly, right? So what this is your capex on like installing a large software reduced significantly. All of that converted into month on month opex. That's one part of it. Second, all the developments that were happening on the software side by this team were automatically released to you, instead of saying that, hey, we have a new release, you need to download something, install something, which basically meant a lot of people never updated software, right? So you're using the best in class updated software on the web. It's powered on through the cloud, and you can use it on a browser. That's really where the SaaS thing started, and a bunch of companies made billions of dollars just becoming SaaS providers of applications that were previously on desktop. Salesforce.com, Adobe moved their entire business to cloud, and a bunch of other companies in India, Darwinbox, a lot of these companies were SaaS providers, right? But what happened in late, I think, 2010s is people started figuring out that, hey, you know what, not every SaaS company needs to be gigantic with like hundreds of people, of teams of developers and product managers and whatnot. There are a bunch of use cases that are very vertical focused, so very business focused, and our favorite word, niche. They were niche business cases that could be solved with very simple software, with very small teams, two, three, four people, sometimes even just one person, as they call it, indie hackers, just developing these products and putting it out there. Why is it called micro SaaS? Is because very simple product built with a small team, and probably never going to be $1 billion business, but could even be a few $1 million in revenue, if done right over a long period of time. So this is what we're going to talk about: the rise of micro SaaS, and what are the different types of micro SaaS apps and who should be doing it.
Yeah, Siddharth, one more point I want to add to what you said is that these companies, they won't be very big. They won't be billions of dollars, but a SaaS company that's earning $30,000 per month, that's 20 lakhs a month, 90% of that is just pure profit because it's just the two of you, or it's just one person, or it's maybe a team of two, three. So it's going to be very high profit margins. So that means you're getting 18 lakhs a month of revenue, of profit. And you can live a very luxurious life on that 18 lakhs a month. And plus, usually these micro SaaS companies sell at a multiple of around 5 to 6 times their annual revenue. So just purely by thumb rule, Pritam Nath, who was selling around what you said, $30,000 a month. So $30,000 a month, approximately $350,000 a year. He probably sold his business for $1.5 million, which is around 10 crores. This is a pure guess. I don't know what the actual number is, but probably around that much. So you can make a significant amount of money that will set you up for life, so that you don't have to go back to a job or anything. And also these applications tend to be small enough that you can do it as a side hustle.
Yeah.
You can do it as on the side while you're working at a main job. And yeah, so let's get into it. What is a micro SaaS? We have answered that. What are the types of micro SaaSes? We see three main types of micro SaaSes, right? There are the ones that are platform dependent, meaning that they are developed on an existing platform. So something like Shopify, something like Salesforce. You make an app for Shopify, you make an app for Salesforce. Then there is a platform independent, which are your desktop, your web, or your mobile apps. Okay. And then there are the ones that are integrated into the platform. These are standalone, but they usually use the API with multiple different platforms. So you, for example, there's an app called Klaviyo. So Klaviyo helps you with email marketing. Klaviyo integrates into the Shopify API, and it integrates into the API of many different applications as well. So it's not just dependent on one platform. It has multiple platform applicability. Personally, if you ask the two of us, we think that platform applications are probably the best one to start off with, because it gives you a certain amount of distribution from the start. The biggest problem with these kind of products is how are you going to distribute it? And with the existing platform, there's some amount of distribution that's already existing. Okay, so Siddharth, we've talked about what micro SaaS is. We've talked about the types of micro SaaSes. Is there some kind of playbook somewhere where somebody can just follow and build their own micro SaaS?
What a great segue into the episode that we did. So we actually hosted the founder of Just Call, Gaurav Sharma. He built out this product, started out as a micro SaaS, but I won't call it a micro SaaS anymore. It's a product that does about $5 to $6 million in revenue. And what they do is they enable teams, sales teams, service teams, customer support teams, all the calls that they're doing to their customers, all of that is logged nicely, and you can sort of add notes and stuff like that. It's a platform integrated SaaS. He built out an amazing playbook on what it takes to grow a micro SaaS business to $1 million in annual run rate.
Yeah, and it's freely available online on his LinkedIn. And we did a full episode just going through what the different steps are. There are 20 different steps, and we go into detail about each and every step. The first step, if I remember correctly, is basically doing your research, finding your niche, finding an industry that's growing at double digits every year, because you'll be able to find some kind of niche within that larger industry, if it's growing at a fast rate. Okay,
yeah. So a couple of examples, just to give some more examples, right? I think platform dependent or platform independent. There is this company called Syndication Pro. Amit Mehta, who's based out of Bangalore, runs this. It's a product targeted to the real estate professionals or real estate investors who lead syndicates, targeted to the US, and they do a healthy revenue. Tyler Tringa Store Mapper, which was a very simple product. It gave all these retail outlets or retail brands a way to show all their stores that are there across the globe or across the country on their website. And he built this product so it was plug and play. He sold it for a few $1 million, as far as I know. He's now become he started this fund called Earnest Capital that focuses on just funding a lot of these bootstrappers and micro SaaS companies. So check that out. And he also has a great playbook, by the way, that you should check out.
Okay. So who should start a micro SaaS company?
You have to have some tech knowledge. I mean, somebody in your team or you need to be able to build this product yourself. Because if you're going to be paying somebody else, if you're going to be depending on somebody else, chances are it's not going to materialize into a successful micro SaaS business, because a lot of what micro SaaS is about being very close to your customer, providing fantastic service and a quick turnaround time. If you're dependent on somebody else who's not part of your team, sometimes doesn't work out. So that as a skill set is extremely important. The second skill set I would think is more from business product perspective, somebody who understands distribution, somebody who understands the business use case that can translate into how it should be developed. That's an essential skill set. These two skill sets come together and you have a team that can build a micro SaaS app.
Yeah. So that I heard that on YouTube, you have to be really high energy, like open your mouth wide and really, go for it. Anyway, Okay, what are our predictions about microsas? I am super excited for this space. I heard about microsas for the first time from Siddharth. I'd never heard about microsas before in my life. And my prediction is that this is going to be the next big thing in terms of a lot of tech people who are working at like your TCS, your Infosys, on all of that. They're going to be disillusioned by working at $1 billion company, and they're just not having fun. So these people will leave, and these people will start their own tiny businesses, and they're earning maybe $100,000 a year, and that's enough for them. And it's a lifestyle business, right? You can live a good life just running this.
And you can travel the world while you're building this.
You can be a digital nomad. So you can live a life like Lola, just like relax, sleep on the couch, don't worry about anything. So that's my first prediction, is that this space is really going to explode as more and more people hear about this.
Also, I think what's happening is the entire tech skills, like the ability to code and stuff like that, is getting democratized, where a lot more people at a very young age are picking this up as an essential skill set, right? It wasn't as popular when we were graduating. Computer engineering was one of the other, computer science engineering was one of the other engineering degrees. Everything was fairly popular, mechanical, electrical, whatnot. But everybody today wants to learn how to code. And once you figure out how to code, putting out these products is not rocket science, right? It's being disciplined, being diligent, and just keep developing it.
Okay. My second prediction is that you don't need to know how to code. There are a lot of no coding tools that are coming out, which maybe you need a little bit of coding, but you don't need as much as you needed in the past. There are people who have built huge softwares without using too much coding. So I'll give you an example. There's a company called copy.ai. Okay. Obviously, there's a significant amount of coding in that software, but the entire engine that's running it is called GPT-3, and they basically use the API of GPT-3 and they built their application on top of that. So the amount of coding was much less if they used if they built a machine learning algorithm on their own. And last time I checked, they were doing around $50,000 per month of revenue, and they raised a ton of money, I think millions of dollars of capital also from a venture capital fund. So yeah, I mean, that's what I heard last time, but I don't know what's happened since then. What else? If you were to start a micro SaaS company today, Siddharth, what would you do?
I would focus on distribution first. I think micro SaaS idea, especially I think going back to platform dependent, there is some risk that the product can be copied. What can't be copied is distribution. So if you're going to focus on this micro SaaS world, figure out distribution first. Figure out if you have a unique sort of strength where, so social media, you have a social media following that looks up to you for a certain reason. And if you can build a product within that category, it might have a higher chance of success. So I would focus on distribution. I would focus on validating a lot of these problems before I actually go out and develop something. And there are multiple ways to do that. We've listed that out in the newsletter. Check that out. By hanging out where your customers are hanging out, in forums, in Facebook groups and stuff like that. Validate before you go out and actually build something in micro SaaS.
And a great tool for validation is a book called The Mom Test. Read that book before you go out and try to validate, because that book teaches you so much about actually how to do validation. The way I used to think that, like, oh, I just go out and ask a friend, like, hey, you have this problem. That's maybe not the right way of doing it. There are other methods of doing it, and this book lays it out really well. I would recommend reading it. The Mom Test. I don't remember the author's name.
And I think this is one of the common pitfalls also, where people, especially people who come from the tech background, are more comfortable developing the product. So they will go out and build a full-fledged, fancy-looking SaaS product and realize that nobody really wants to buy it, and eventually going to give up and go back to their jobs. Don't do that. I know as a techie, you want to go out and build, but go out, build distribution, build validation first, and then go out and build, because that's the easiest thing to do.
Okay, awesome. Thanks for another session, Siddharth.
Hi, Lola.
And if you have listened so far, please like, please subscribe, and please click on the notification button. Thanks for watching.